listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Gene.
From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AFTERBUZZ TV's 24 Live Another Day After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's 24 Live Another Day After Show.
Yes, it's 24. Welcome, AfterBuzzers. My name's Nando Velasquez. This is 24 Live Another Day. We're doing the 3 o'clock hour. Joining me, across from me, are...
Hi, I'm Roxy Striar.
And
I'm Jeffrey Masters.
yes, and we are missing Danny Hoyt this week. He is memorializing, I guess, because it's Memorial Day.
Nando, that was like, if the clock didn't start, you were not going to start the show without that clock.
I was not going to start without that clock.
You were not going to start with that clock.
I wanted that clock.
You and Jack both, man.
That clock gives me anxiety. This whole show, God. Was anybody stressed out by like the opening sequences of all the phone calls back and forth?
I'm not a nail biter, and like my hands were in my mouth the entire episode. Yeah, stress. Major stress.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, everybody was just like talking on the phones, like talking about like heavy hot button issues. Well, it's drones.
There's
it's very trendy
lot,
right now.
Thousands of people might die.
Yeah.
Thousands of English citizens.
Yeah, but
and maybe out here in LA we don't feel like, oh, you know, they're stressed out. Why are they so stressed out about it?
No, I mean, yes, a lot's at stake in that sense, but that's not the thing that gets to me most. It's the little things like when somebody's finger's being chopped off, you know?
Ooh, yeah.
I can't really conceptualize. Tens of thousands of people may die. That's not something that gets me so stressed, even though maybe that's where I should get so stressed. But when I see these teams going in, they're about to get bombed, even if there's way less of them, that's what gets me. That's the nail biter.
I mean, that obviously gets me. You guys see me squirming every episode. But something about the drones being in the newspaper like every week, like I've been reading about it all summer, like for the foresight for the writers to have to like include this in the show, it just really like, I think like I applaud them for that, like they guessed. But it just really stresses me out.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, it's a hot button topic, and again, 24 credit them. They always seem to know what to hit us with.
Yeah.
As far as a really good plot device, as a good threat to the country, to the nation. Well, in this case, to England.
I'm still waiting on our mole, though. I feel like we have a lot of this 24 stuff going on. We're seeing classic Jack Bauer. We're seeing Audrey. We're seeing Chloe. We got the dynamics going, and I'm waiting for this mole to pop out.
there's still
You
a
still
chance.
think, sorry, you keep saying it's going to be Eric. Do you still believe that?
I'm back and forth.
Because when they were driving the car and you said, oh, Eric, and you were like, it's a car crash, and I was like, oh my God, I was thinking the exact same thing, but only because you said it.
That's why I don't know if it's Eric anymore, because I feel like if he was going to do it, he would have already done it. So I don't know at this point. I just think that somewhere there's a mole.
Well, let's get into the episode. Let's just talk about the episode. Maybe we could figure out the mole from there.
Okay.
So based on what we see. So pretty much we're starting off this episode with Jack in custody. At the end of last week's episode, we saw Kate jump on top of him and declare that, you know, she got dibs on Jack. CIA's got dibs. And she pretty much saved Jack's life because the Marines were going to go in there and kill him. They just were fed up with him after what he did in the embassy last week.
And she takes the flight key.
And she takes the flight key, and she apparently takes also Jack's
earpiece.
His earpiece, his communication with Chloe. So
smart.
After pretty smart.
Wicked
Thank God she
smart.
had that
Wicked
long
smart.
hair covers the ears up and you could see it.
Yeah. So pretty much Kate runs off. Jack ends up doing a distraction just to make sure the Marines don't think that Kate has the flight key. Marines take Jack anyway. At least they don't kill him, and they bring him into custody. So let's talk about, this is Jack's meeting with President James Heller that he was talking to last week. This is the first time that Audrey gets to see him. There's a lot going on here with this. I mean, Jack, this is one episode where Jack's pretty much in custody the whole time. Jack actually doesn't really do too much.
Right. Well,
But what he does is important because he's talking to the president. Let's talk first about President Heller. So
right. I think there's a few things that are important to mention. Number one, the fact that Mark kind of apologizes to both the president and to Audrey.
Yeah.
Number two, that he took the initiative to call Jack in preemptively thinking that the president would want to speak to him. So I don't think he's this bad guy that everybody's kind of making him out to be.
Yeah. He even did he even did a mea culpa to Audrey. Said, I let personal feelings get in the way.
Right.
Well,
Go ahead.
that's why, as the president, I'm just shocked that you would surround yourself by like people who have personal feelings. You know,
I think everybody has feelings.
I know, but like everyone has feelings, but not. It's like it goes beyond when it's your daughter and her husband. Like those are just strong relationships. Like how can you like let go of them?
Well, I don't know if there have been situations like this in the past. It feels like Jack would be the only thing that maybe Mark would kind of bend his morals or whatever, bend his politics in order to do this. Because Jack's everything to Audrey, and we see that tonight.
Yeah. Oh, very, very tender moment between Jack and Audrey. Eskimo kisses.
A forehead conversation.
Yeah, forehead conversation. Looked like really close to Eskimo kisses there.
Ew.
Well, it wasn't Eskimo kiss.
What is an Eskimo kiss?
No, Eskimo kisses.
What is that?
The two noses next to each other, but they weren't really Eskimo. It was just, I was just
the
teasing.
nose
rubbings.
Oh,
they weren't rubbing
They don't
noses.
kiss up there. It's too cold.
It's to keep warm.
Yeah, it's the warmth. No, but I thought that was a little too close. I thought that for a first interaction, like, it looked like they were going to hook up. That was like almost cheating on her husband.
No, but she wouldn't do that. Yeah.
I agree. But you know what? I'm going to go off that and I'm going to call BS on the writers because how dare they let Audrey and then the president of the United States into a closed room with Jack Bauer who does not have handcuffs on.
I know.
Like, are you kidding
it's
me?
fine. That's when the president said that, we were both looking at each other like,
Yeah, like there's no
This man is
windows, there's no
dangerous,
guards,
yeah.
and he's not even handcuffed.
I think that Jack has earned. I think he's earned with everything that he's done in service for the president. That he's earned some respect.
I think to us, he's earned it, but like he's still a wild card.
here's
still
all
a
that has
wild
to
card.
happen. Jack has to go, boom, hit the president's head, president's dead.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Well,
and
then it's the president's. Then it's the president's call because he's the one who pretty much said, "Leave me alone with him."
They thought Jack was here to assassinate the president. For all they know, Jack is working with Margot, and this was the major plan to get him into there, and now he's there, and bang, you're dead.
That's when Audrey's not there helping, saying, no, we can't let you in with this person.
I just
Right.
think out of all the dumb moves that they've done, I really don't think, when I say they, I mean like the CIA and the
GTU,
Marines, out of all the dumb moves, I don't really think of this as a dumb move. I mean, we've already said this in the
Jack,
past,
though.
but we've already said this in the past when we were talking about Mark forging the signature, and we said Jack would probably do that. So, no, Jack seems to have the most respect for the president, no matter what. Even when he's going up against the president, he always like warns him. He'll tell him, "If I'm going to get you, I'm going to get you." He tells
I
you straight
agree,
up.
but we know that though.
Yeah,
but like
'cause you
the
watch the
people
TV
who work
show.
for the president do not.
Absolutely.
their guards, their team.
And yet the president told them to get out of the room, so they have to. He's the commander in chief. They listen to the president.
I would say, I'm sorry, but if you have a death wish, great, but I'm going to watch. And that's why I should have that job.
And that's why. Okay. All right, fair enough. I think in this world
Done for it, baby.
that if the president says, "Leave me alone with Jack Bauer," trust me, leave me alone with Jack. I mean, Jack Bauer is the one you don't trust. The president is the one you trust, even if you don't believe.
Right, but
he's
the
in his
way
right
that the
mind.
president talked to Jack wasn't as if he fully even trusted him. Jack looks at him and goes, "So I was right." The president never was like, "Thank you for coming back," or "Yes, you were right." So it didn't seem to me like the president wanted to be all chummy with Bauer, which is why I was confused why he had people leave the room.
Okay, well, I don't know. I was able to suspend my disbelief and say, okay, you know what? He earned pretty much because he called them correctly on the drone attacks that it was an override. That the president earned it.
Yeah, and I want to like make the whole show about this, but like in my mind, I'm thinking, well, why aren't the guards saying he only did this to get close to the president to have this moment?
Right. But what do you guys think the president is feeling about Jack right now? Because he isn't acting so warm towards him. He's not willing to put him back in the field. So he trusts him enough, but not
I think
completely.
he wants to trust him more than he is able to because of like his position. He can't give him 100% consent because he's the president. And I just think he has to go through these other options, which is like his other team first.
Okay, what do you think?
Well,
Nando?
he's obviously got to go through his other team first. I mean, he's the president. He's got his he's got his panel, he's got his people, he's got his confidants, but at the same time, we've seen this time and time again. Jack usually ends up figuring things out. Even if you don't agree with him right away, he ends up calling the right call most of the time. So, I think that President Heller is, familiar with that.
What do you think?
I don't know. It makes me kind of question the president. We know that he's not completely in the right mindset. I put it that lightly because I don't actually know what's going on with the president,
Right.
and it really wasn't addressed any further tonight's episode.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Completely forgot about that. You're exactly right.
So I don't know if that's affecting the way that he sees power or.
I think, look, we saw this whole episode. We saw nothing happen. So I can understand if you think, well, writers, may have messed up here, but I personally don't see it.
I don't think they messed up. I completely forgot that he was having the memory issues because the last 2 episodes, I think.
I will say this. The only reason why I would say that maybe someone would question Heller at this point was because of the memory issues. But he proved himself when he was talking to Parliament that he handles himself perfectly well.
Yeah,
so I think, and
he did
really,
prove himself
the
well.
only person really who had issues with the president's state of mind was Mark Brodeur. And he's already pretty much said, okay, it's my, it's my bad. I should have told you more of this information earlier. Perhaps I should have trusted you. I was the one last week who told you to go against Bauer, and now all of a sudden, look, he's actually right. So that's
Mark's
the only
one
person.
of the only people he knows. Not many people know.
Exactly.
Well, we don't even know who knows at this point. We know Mark. We know Audrey.
The chief of staff and Audrey would be the only people to probably call shenanigans on Heller, and obviously Audrey trusts Jack with her life. And, Mark probably doesn't want to go against the president again because he was wrong already. So that's why.
So I was thinking about this because you guys know that I did go back and watch season 8, and we see this line now with Audrey and Jack, and she says, I should have stood up for you more. And he says, but everything they said about me was true. And if you guys remember in season 8, Jack, in order to do what he thought was right, because nobody was listening to him, and even Chloe thought he had lost it at this point, he had to go and kill a lot of people that he was not authorized to kill. So I think that must be what they're referring to, that he didn't have authorization. There were some innocents that got in his crossfire. So clearly that's what they're referring to, unless something's happened in the past 4 years where he's popped up for air and we don't know about it yet. It seems like he's been very low under the radar.
Well,
right?
Look, the Russians want Jack. He's obviously done a lot of bad things, and he's responsible for getting things done at no matter what cost. So, it's easy to say that's why he kept away from Audrey. He obviously has a conflict. He's always had this conflict where that the people he's around end up getting hurt or dying because of this. They're at stake, ever since season 1. So this is obviously, and plus, let's face it, Audrey's married. She's a married woman right now, too. So he's going back up to her, and she's married, and they're having this conversation. And he realizes for what he needs to do, he can't be soft.
Yeah, he says, you need to leave, you need to leave.
Yeah.
He asks her, so I hear you're married. Are you happy? Does he treat you well? She completely ignores every question and moves on further. Do you think she's sitting here thinking, she didn't know what happened to Jack. She didn't know if he was still on the run, if he was dead, where in the world he was. Did she wish she waited for him? Can we tell that she's in love with him still? Or what are you guys feeling that she's feeling for him?
I don't think she knows what she's feeling. I think it's just utter confusion. Like, I didn't think you were dead, but I didn't think I would ever see you again. I was getting on with my life, under the assumption that he would never be a part of it again. And now I think that's why it's so interesting to watch her and their interaction, because she's like, now what? Kind of like us.
Well, it's an interesting love triangle. She obviously had feelings for Jack, and here he is back in her life, and she's moved on without him. It's maybe she waited for him. We don't know exactly what happened in those 4 years. Don't forget, he when he left her, she was pretty much in a very bad state, very mental state.
Right.
And here she is. Her life has moved on. We saw her in the first hour, getting ready. Her husband, the way her husband was dealing with her. They weren't getting along 100%. But they're still a married couple. Married couples bicker every now and then.
Of course. And Jack's question, though, you're married now, are you happy? I think it's very clear. She's like, no, I'm not happy.
Really not.
No, sleep with me right now.
Yeah, that's
not
what I
sleep with
felt
me.
like she wanted to say, though.
I know.
But the conversation right before it, too, that she had with Tate Donovan, she was like, you need to go. My father needs you, not I need you.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know. And it was interesting to me that he kept saying, you need to leave, get out of here, get out of here. he can't even deal with his emotions for her because they're so strong, and he knows she's married, and what is he going to do? Like, kiss her right then and there? No. But I remember when we were watching after the first episode, they kind of did a preview of the entire season, and I was like, oh, did they kiss right there? And when we were watching the preview, and I think it was actually this moment that we saw in the preview of them this close.
I agree.
So I don't know if we will actually see them get together at any point.
I don't feel like that's in the cards.
Yeah.
I just don't feel like it's in the chemistry of the show so far. Granted, we're just in the beginning, though.
But it makes me confused because we only have 12 episodes this season, and this is supposedly the final bow to 24.
Right.
So if that
Supposedly.
yeah, supposedly.
The way that it was phrased, though, also was Kiefer Sutherland talking, saying, this is the last time we're going to see Jack Bauer. So I wonder if, like, there is a potential spinoff with, like, Kate.
Right, absolutely. But regardless of that, because it's relevant to the show, but it's irrelevant to the point I'm about to make, which is the fact that why did we bring back Jack and Audrey? Why did we bring her back for this? I feel like the only reason we would have brought her back is to have her be romantically involved with Jack somehow. Otherwise, we could have brought back an entire slew of people.
I don't know. Well, here's the thing. I mean, this is a span of 24 hours. I don't know if you're pretty much saying that you see them getting it on, for lack of a better word, right now,
I'm not
and her
saying that.
breaking up with her husband.
I certainly didn't say that.
Well, not saying that, but maybe I'm putting words in your mouth. But I mean, I'm sure there'll be some romantic tensions, but I don't think Jack will end up with anybody. It's never been Jack's thing to end up with anybody in his life.
Right, so I'm not saying that they're going to end up together. I'm definitely not saying she's going to break up with her husband and run away with him, and that's going to be the end of the show.
I think that will tie it up nicely, though.
But what I am saying is that she was brought back on purpose. She obviously is the only love interest that we could have brought back. Everybody else is dead. She's the only one who could be here right now that we give
Well, the only major one.
The only one that we give two craps
Because
about.
Kate Morgan, because there's someone from season 2 at least.
Right,
but,
okay, well... Do you guys understand what I'm saying? She's the only
I
one.
think that's a fantastic point.
So I'm wondering, why did they pick her if there wasn't going to be anything, unless it's just to show turmoil going on in him, or that he can still feel, or something. So there's something more. Otherwise, they would have just picked a new love interest, or brought back somebody else.
I mean, look, Kate.
Michelle's actually alive. Like, I don't know.
Kate Morgan could be a love interest for all we know. You
Maybe.
know, I mean, there could be other love interests, but I still think it's
Maybe.
important to have Audrey back. She, not just because of the fact that she was a love interest, but Kim Raver is a pretty big star in the 24 universe, and people who are fans of 24 are very familiar with her. So it's just another familiar face. I mean, right now we only really have 3 people from past seasons of 24 that are in this season.
4.
We have 4. We have 4.
President.
Yeah, 4 including the president. Thank you. So we have the president, we have Chloe, we have Jack, and we have Audrey. So it just adds to it. But really, out of those 4, even like I'll say that James Heller was not a big piece to as important a piece as Audrey always was. It was like Jack was working for James, but he was always with Audrey.
It could have been Chloe and Jack. We could have picked up 24 Live Another Day with Chloe and Jack, but they brought Audrey back for a reason.
Audrey would never be his love interest. Are you talking about love interest, or just having Chloe and Jack together?
No, I'm saying we could have been 24 Live Another Day. The only 2 people that could have been on this season could have been Chloe and Jack, and I think fans would have accepted that. But we brought Audrey back, and so there's got to be a reason we're bringing back. She either represents something, she's going to prove something, there might be some fireworks, I don't know what, but we brought her back.
I think that's a really great point, that there will, at the end of this season, they brought this show back to provide closure to fans.
Right.
To wrap it up. And I think that the Audrey storyline will have a very definite ending of either they move to Bali and get married and have children, or she's dead. It's going to be very definite. It's not going to be
dead.
What happened?
I'm more likely to see dead. I'm more likely to see dead than moving.
Going to become Eat, Pray, Love, but I think it's because I think it's going to give us the closure we want.
Right, instead of just wondering what happened with her.
What happened to Jack?
Well, obviously, this is just one scene, them meeting together for the first time, and yet we're talking about it for a long
scene, a massive scene.
No, I know, but that's why we're talking about it so much, because it's obviously something that the fans are really interested in seeing.
Well, that look she gives him when he first walks in, she looks at him and then looks at her husband and kind of ashamed looks away. It's going to be huge. I don't know what's going to happen.
PTSD.
Yeah. No, absolutely. So I'm sure there's going to be a lot more, but it looks like, well, for now at least, Jack is still in custody because he talked to the president about possibly going back out in the field, which we heard a little bit last week, because in typical Jack fashion, he knows a guy who might be able to have access to Margot. It's an arms dealer, but instead of bringing him in for interrogation, he feels the fastest way is for him to infiltrate, to reestablish himself and infiltrate this guy so he can get information on his own, which is typical 24 plot. How many times has Jack done that before? He's done that quite a bit, where he's kind of gone undercover at the last second and try to throw some kind of guys up. And the president says, not this time. He's like, 4 years of change. We can handle it on our own. We'll just bring him in and interrogate him. And Jack insists that there's not enough time to interrogate this guy. This guy's gone to prison for not opening his mouth. He's gone to some of the worst prisons in the world for not opening his mouth. There's nothing the president can do to get him to open his mouth today.
The thing that was most interesting to me about this entire scene is when he says that he'll hand himself over to the Russians when this is all done, give himself to the authorities.
Right.
Is that how we see this season ending? Is that the end of this all? Does he give himself up?
It's a possibility. It's not the first time that we've seen him going off into custody, to another country before. Well, it's not the first time we've seen that. I'm just saying it's definitely a possibility. We want closure. This could be the perfect closure. He ends up going with the Russians.
Was it like season 4 or 5 where he wanders down railroad tracks to Mexico and they're like, Shabbat Shalom? I kind of foresee it being that kind of finishing.
Oh, okay.
That's possible. I mean, look, we're not even halfway through the season yet, but there definitely is a possibility of closure in that way based on what he says. However, he tells the president, just let me out in the field and I will surrender afterwards. And the president still says, no, you don't get to go.
That's a big ask. I mean, I think that's actually the exact line.
Yeah.
From the president. That's a big ask. It's a major ask.
Yeah, but I honestly think that the president was too quick to dismiss it. Jack, to the best of my knowledge, Jack's never wrong. And the president is...
But Jack's always doubted, or doubted a lot.
Yeah.
Yes.
True, but I think that he's correct most of the time. Yeah. And so if he says that this guy's not going to break, that has to be taken into account. Granted, they think that they can find through the IP address, they think they have another way in, so they don't need to interrogate anybody because they already have their way to Margot. But you had to know. The second we hear about this B storyline about Jack going at whatever, and we know that they're going in through the IP address, you had to know that we wouldn't have been talking about Jack going in if that was going to pan out,
Yeah.
Because
I mean, we hear about Jack saying his plan to President Heller first before they actually find out about this IP address from the tape. So obviously, once that happens, they direct all of their attention onto the attack on the estate
because it's easier.
It's easier, but now that we'll get into that one a little bit later. But obviously, now that's
too easy,
that didn't pan out so nicely.
Yeah.
Now they're going to have to, as we saw in clips for next week, they're going to have to start exploring Jack's other options.
Of course. I was waiting for the scene where President Heller gets his team of advisors together and says, Jack wants to go back in the field. I know it's a bad idea, but what do you think?
Well, but what's the alternative? Give me something else. Give me anything
what else. You got?
Yeah. This is my last option. So if you have option any other thing, but
I think with the limited time that there is, I think it was already established that this was. I mean, he called Jack in to have this conversation with him because his group already said, we don't know where else to go. We have no leads.
Yeah, I'm not saying
before that.
they want to use him as for information though, but I think the conversation of he wants to go back in the field. We want to give this man a weapon and send him on his merry way with the radio.
But it was interesting though that Jack wouldn't give them the name. You wouldn't do it, And
Jack didn't want them to screw up their only chance of possibly getting Margot.
Right.
That's what he said.
I think it had nothing to do with himself and his ego. I don't think anything like that.
No, I think he always thinks of he always thinks of the country first. I mean, listen to what he said. He said he would be willing to surrender himself afterwards.
Right.
He actually sacrifices himself a lot. So so pretty much that was the extent of the Jack interactions this episode. It was just him, doing that distraction in the embassy so that Kate could just walk out, and a little minor distraction just to get the Marines not thinking about Kate, and then talking to Heller, talking to Audrey, and then making that plan to Heller. So a very un-Jack. I mean, it was a great episode, but a very light Jack light episode.
Yeah,
light Jack light episode.
White.
Yes, Jack
Yet
White.
we managed to talk about him the entire time
Well,
anyway.
because we were fascinated
He's
by it.
our hero.
He doesn't have to do much.
Jack
so.
Bauer, my hero.
Before we move away from the president talk,
Mm-hmm.
when he was having this scene, after Margot releases a video, and he came back and was like, that's brilliant for her. She knows I'll never give myself up. And so she's won the moral war
Yeah.
in the eye for people and the world.
Half the world, yeah.
Half the world, yeah. That didn't occur to me. And so I think it's like smart writing like that, which makes me go, oh, yeah. Because sometimes we can catch up with them sometimes with like, oh, it's clearly like a fake house. Like, don't go in there. And so we're waiting for that, but it's still enjoyable to watch. So, like, things like that, I'm really happy to see. Like, oh, that's good. Like, yeah, like, please keep telling me smart stuff.
Well, before we move on, I mean, I do want to bring up that whole conversation that he had about the fact that Margot, when she did the tape and she said that this was going to be retribution for the drone attack on her husband, where 23 people died and 6 of them were children.
Right.
And yet she is justifying the possible death of thousands of English citizens to get at the president. I first of all, well, look, I mean, it's that's the way terrorists think, I guess. So, you know, I feel like you're gonna kill thousands of people, and that's gonna make up for the 6 kids that that we killed in that drone attack. I just feel that's a bit of a hypocritical.
Are we jumping into
thing.
this? The terrorists?
Let's get to Margot. Let's do it.
Well, I want to talk about this only because when James Heller decided to look into research on the attack, Brodeur was protecting him. Brodeur didn't tell him about the 6 innocents. So that's another mea culpa that's another friction that's going on right now between Mark Brodeur and between President Heller. The fact that he's protecting the president, didn't want to tell him about the innocents because he didn't want to lessen the campaign to get the drones.
Right. What do you guys think about the fact that we're watching the video and they say, we assume this is Margot? Are we assuming that that's Margot crawling away? Or is that some player that we don't even know yet?
I'm believing the CIA that she was and plus, don't forget, later on in the episode when we get into Margot, she said she saw her husband burn.
She did say that. I'm just
So-
wondering if this is somehow, because otherwise I feel like we would have been able to 100% identify her. Whenever they don't show somebody's face, I feel like there's some sort of twist. So we know she was there. We know that she saw it, but we don't know she was there. We know she saw it.
You're a very curious viewer.
I am.
You really
am.
overanalyze.
I'm like, who's the mole? What's going on?
I kind of trust, based on the fact that she even said she saw her husband burn, means she was in the immediate proximity of the attack, and the only way she could do that is if she was on site.
Even if that wasn't her, I don't know who that would be and why they wouldn't be revealed yet.
The point is she survived the attack.
Not that they wouldn't be revealed yet, but maybe that was Simone, and that's why Simone's so towards this cause also, because I keep sitting here questioning, Simone, what you doing? Like,
Girl,
I get she's your
what are
mom,
you
but
She's
what you doing?
brainwashed by her mom. I mean, and the fact that her dad died in that explosion too.
And maybe siblings? I mean, if there's 6 little
stepdad, really.
kids, was there...
Yeah, who knows?
I don't know.
But I don't, I think that's a little too in depth. But I think,
Tell me this while we're going in depth.
Yeah.
Riddle me
Simone
this.
is lying in bed. She's covered in sweat. She looks like she's the polio virus. Is that realistic?
polio.
Yeah. Is that realistic that you would lose a finger and go into that much of like a bodily shock?
And go into shock? I would think so.
I think that depending on how much blood she lost,
Yeah.
up, because it seemed like they cut it, and now we see that they're taking care of it. But if it's infected, like the way that
God.
Naveed seemed to think it was, that I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. I'm not positive. I have all 10
I think
digits,
if I was
That's
to lose
perfect.
a digit, I think I would be in worse shape than Simone.
Are you
I'm just
kidding?
telling you. I mean, you just watching it, you were practically in as bad shape
yeah,
as Simone.
well, from the expert of an Eagle Scout, I have all of my medical merit badges.
yeah?
I just don't think that that's like, I mean, I haven't lost any of my fingers lately, but I just can't imagine
Not
like it should
lately.
be in that much pain.
I feel like they're living in not great conditions as well, though.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly what's going on, but Margot has control of everything. We don't know what the temperature is. We don't know what kind of food they're getting. She's just been.
Yeah.
We don't know if she has STDs. She's been having sex
Oh
with
my God.
random yates. Like,
You guys-
curious viewer number one. I'm just saying. Like, I think that. I'll give it to her. She just lost a finger. Let her have the
Okay,
shake.
why do people still trust Margot though? She's killing people left and right. She's like taking fingers. She's like so unpredictable. I don't know why they're not terrified of this ruler.
I completely disagree. I think Margot is the most predictable person on the show. She has clearly made it so that we know what she wants and nothing else matters. So
Well, yeah, but that is scary if you're working for her.
oh, it's petrifying, but I think that you know exactly what you're going to get. I don't think that when Simone looked up at Naveed and said, I never thought my mom would go this far, I don't think she's telling the truth. I think she knows exactly how far her mom would go. And she only said that to him because she knew she was going to go along with the plan.
Oh, see, I think that he told her about the plan, especially it being under the floorboards, because she had to find out that information before he dies, because she's going to use that then against her mom.
About
right,
the
well,
floorboards, I don't think she's.
We're
I think she was-
jumping all over on this. Let's
Let's
say,
continue while we're on Margot.
Well, I mean, all right, if you want to
We're
continue.
talking
I
about
just think-
Margot. We're rocking and
Yeah.
rolling.
They don't
all right,
care what order
okay.
we talking.
Well, okay, go for it then.
I'm just saying, I think that if she was going to go against her mom, it would have been before her husband died. Maybe I'm wrong, but she's standing there. I guess she really couldn't have done anything. What was she gonna
No.
do? Go pull out a gun and shoot her mom?
Yeah, with 4 fingers.
Yeah, I guess not. So definitely the information under the floorboard is coming into play at some point.
Yeah, and I think that. Oh, sorry. Did I cut you off?
No. I just am wondering if the mom has video cameras, what do they not have sound? Can she hear about the floorboard, or
I don't
is she
know.
just watching?
I
or-
just think that the deciding factor for Simone was watching her mother execute her husband.
she didn't flinch.
I
She didn't flinch. Naveed looks up. He's screaming, Simone, Simone. And she's sitting there standing. And then the mom is dead in the forehead. And Simone didn't flinch.
I think it's because of what you said, though. She knows there was not a thing she could do.
Right. After you take off your daughter's ring finger, yeah. I don't know. It made me think differently of Simone. I keep thinking Simone's going to be the big bad that flips everything around and changes the game and goes against her mom and saves everything. But then when I saw the way it went tonight, I think she sold him out. And I think maybe she's just as bad as the mom.
Oh, I just think it's like repeated trauma makes you dead in the face. She was giving me like full on ring girl coming out of the well.
Oh, Samara, for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Like just no expression because there's so much trauma. It's like PTSD all over the place, and she just can't process it. And she knows, holy crap, there's nothing I can do. And she's like behind her eyes.
But Ian's like totally down for the cause too.
Yeah, that's weird as crap.
I mean, both kids are like, all right, mom, you know? So that's the only reason I said something about who was crawling away.
Right.
Maybe they have bigger stake in this than just mommy telling them what to do.
I just think you're looking too far into it.
I might be.
Seriously, you really are. It's just like
it's
you're
very
killing me
possible.
with the minutiae. You really are.
I'm making the show more miserable for you.
Yeah. Well, no, the show's not
Because-
miserable for me,
yeah.
but you're just like, it's like maybe that's not her. Maybe I can't believe the government and actually Margot when she says that she was there. I'm like, no, I
No, I
trust
believe
she's there.
she was there.
But I don't think. But I think this one little. This is like you with the sniper with the guy last week that you said, oh, this guy's going to be a major player in the next episode. I'm like, no,
I did not.
He just collected his SAG card and that was it.
oh,
We
Oh,
said.
okay.
he's in Star Wars. He's been around for a while.
No, not John Boyega, the guy that was supposed to kill Jack Bauer.
Okay, with the words in my mouth. I did not call him a major player. I
Yeah.
said I thought we might see him again.
And I said, and Danny was the one who actually said he just collected his SAG card, and I agreed with him. And now here you are over like the Zapruder film or something. Is that Margot? Oh my God, is that Margot? I don't know. It's a major plot. It's not a major plot point. It was Margot was there. They looked at the footage. They confirmed it. That's it.
It could be.
What is AfterBuzz for, though?
You're gonna feel like a real dick next week.
You know what? I will be okay. I will admit I'm a
Major
dick if that becomes a major plot point, or if we find out that comes back because it wasn't Margot.
thing.
I will come on here and I will just say it.
If I lay out all these accusations, one of them's got to land, man. One of them.
You know what?
I'm gonna keep throwing the pasta at the wall, and something's
If I'm
gonna
gonna throw
stick.
money on anything you say, it's not gonna be that one. I'm just
Okay.
gonna say
I'm with
that.
you. I'm with you. I think it's very interesting. I appreciate your insight. You know what thing did not
Ganging up on me. Ganging up on me.
What
Dang it, on you.
accusation did not come true was what I predicted, which was Naveed would steer like the rocket from the drone into their house where they were hiding
And kill them all.
And kill them all. She
That
would
would
say,
be the end of it.
Well, yeah. Well, hey, ho hum. She'll escape like on her hands and knees again. She'll crawl away.
And
to
Roxy
another
will
house.
doubt it based on the video footage.
Lie.
Roxy will
Hey,
doubt
okay,
it.
after watching all these people come back to life,
Well,
you never
Yeah.
know.
I just
right.
thought that Naveed would have been like, you know what? I'll never make it out of here alive. I'm gonna sacrifice myself
Yeah, but he wouldn't
and
do
my
that to his
fingerless
wife.
wife,
And my fingerless.
and I'll go to heaven and find my virgins.
I feel like in a different show, maybe that could have happened.
Thank you, I appreciate
that. His love for his wife was so strong that it was kind of devastating at the end when he's calling for her.
He's a pussy, I'll say it. Why are you telling your wife these secrets?
Yeah, I will say that was an incredibly dumb move. I mean, I
yeah.
think he's just totally head over heels in love with Simone and thinks for some reason that he can sway her, so he gives her all this information.
But did Simone tell her mom? Did she tell Margot what he said, or was she planning on going with the plan?
Well, here's the thing. I mean, Margot said that Ian discovered it. So I don't think Margot. I don't think that Ian discovered what Naveed did to actually make the tape traceable. So I don't see Margot lying to Naveed. If her daughter said it to her, she would have said, "Your daughter ratted you out." No, I'm sorry, your wife ratted you out. No, he said instead, Ian found out.
Yeah.
So that's why it's really interesting to see what Simone's really thinking in the end, because we were all like, "Oh my God, stupid move, Naveed, stupid move," but we don't know for a fact, based on the information we've been given, whether Simone ratted out Naveed or not. It doesn't look like she did.
It's almost irrelevant at this point, though, because if she did, she certainly didn't rat him out about the floorboard.
The only reason why it's relevant is, again, because there's still more information. The floorboards, which it doesn't look like Margot knows about the floorboards.
So let's clarify.
It's possible that Simone could eventually turn or rat out her mom.
It has to be her.
Wait, to clarify for a second, though, what's in the floorboards is proof that they weren't part of this, and that Naveed and Simone wanted to go against this?
That's what I believe Naveed said.
I wasn't sure if the proof was like a notebook with writing, or if it's a video that is actively taking footage
of him switching the IP, showing them and trying to prove. Yeah, but he said that it was going to prove him to be innocent, and that he was going to claim Simone had no say. So I don't feel like anything in the floorboard clears her name. I feel like it clears him, and she might try to piggyback on that and say that it's her husband.
What clears her name is that she's the one giving the information over.
Right, I guess. Yeah, that.
Well, what does Naveed want? Naveed wants to get out of there with his wife. So I would assume that the information he has on the floorboards is going to help exonerate the both of them.
Yeah. Well, Naveed, you are ass out of luck.
Well, he's definitely ass out of luck because he's gone.
He's done.
Yeah, he's done.
Okay, tell me this. The episode was 3 to 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
In that hour, Naveed transmitted the video with the IP address.
Right.
And yet, Miss Margot has enough time to run to this other house, plant all these bombs, and run back. No, and nobody notices.
Margot didn't plant the bombs.
There's no bombs. It was a drone attack.
Oh.
She put one of the drones at them.
It doesn't take that much. You just need a pilot. You just need a pilot. That's all you need.
Yeah, but,
I watched the episode, I promise.
But that surprises me that they did. They thought they had 10 drones originally. Now we know they only have 6 that are in the control. And of one of those 6 drones, they're going to use 1 on this house.
No, but I don't have the notes from last week. Yeah, each drone has 10 or 6 missiles.
Each drone has 6 missiles.
So they only used one missile?
No, they used 6 missiles. You didn't see all the missiles go?
Oh, they used all. Okay,
yeah,
all 6.
Or at least I saw 4.
I thought I saw 2 of the 6 go.
I thought that if you hit. Wait, okay. So this is me not knowing about drones and missiles.
Oh, I'm the expert.
I think if you hit
we're experts
missile
here.
launch, all of them launch.
No, you're incorrect.
No, that's wrong.
Yes.
You hit missile launch. And
back to the Eagle Scout thing, I know.
So if you hit missile launch, then you can send that drone actually somewhere else and hit missile launch again?
You probably could.
Oh.
It's pretty much like you're saying, wait, you have a gun and it has 8 bullets in it. You mean if you press the bullet, all 8 go out at once? No, they just use it like a gun. Well, it's a weapon.
It's a little different because this thing is in the air. So I thought that maybe you hit it and then everything went to its designate, wherever you wanted it to go.
I think it's user friendly. I think if you want to use all 8, all whatever missiles on one target, you can. If you want to choose, you can. The point, it's an interesting point only because they really, really wanted 10 drones. They only ended up getting 6 because Kate ended up calling in, the president and telling him that Jack Bauer was right.
She calls Navarro.
She calls Navarro, who calls the president. The president eventually knows.
And you know what? I just did my drone iPhone app update, and I can definitely separate the drones. So, you can just do 2, just do 4 or 6.
But what's interesting is because they were really concerned about getting 10 drones, and then they only got 6. You're right. They wasted who knows how many missiles from one drone on that target. So that lessens
Right.
the amount of targets they can do. But they're still going to be able to damage, as the president's staff said, tens of thousands of people can get hurt if they actually decide to aim for a nuclear target. That target it goes tenfold.
Well, it wasn't exactly the point I was trying to make. Was that yes, they lessen the rest of the drones, but the other thing is the fact that they lose credibility when they said to the president, "We're not going to launch these missiles if you hand yourself over in the next 3 hours." And now they've already launched it.
Okay.
They've already launched one of them. You know what I mean? So what kind of thing is that? You know,
Right.
So, it's not helping their cause. It's not helping him to trust them.
Is there any? Exactly, I agree. Is there any earthly way that they would hand the president over as a plot to find out where they are?
No,
think-
because they would never, even in real life, they never negotiate with terrorists, and that's always been a
What
part
if
of
it's
24.
a stand-in?
I think that something like that could happen. Not in real life, but on the show, maybe Jack devises a plant. They have some way of getting him back, obviously with some sort of out.
The closest thing that ever happened was season 3 when they had the drug lord. Now I can't remember his name for the life of me at the moment. In prison, and they were going to unleash a virus into LA unless they released this guy. Jack did a break-in. He actually called the president and said, "I know a way out where you could save face. I'm going to break him out before you have to give an answer."
What about like a stand-in? Remember in the Wild Wild West when Kevin Kline dressed up as Ulysses S. Grant?
So I think that I don't know how it would happen, but I think something like that.
And
something
even
along
if they
those
don't
lines.
give like a stand-in, but like if like the man's staying there in the park and the car comes to pick him up, like you still have some way to trace it.
Well, I don't think
see.
that would happen in real life, so I can't see them doing it now. Plus, it would still show weakness because the media
course
would probably embrace
Eat it
it and
alive.
eat it alive. Exactly.
Yeah, I still don't know where the prime minister stands on all this.
We don't have much more time for this podcast, so let's move
Fair enough.
forward. Okay, let's talk a little bit. Let's talk about Kate first of all, because Kate, as we saw last week, trusted Jack, and ended up taking the flight key, and she's working with Chloe now, which is really, really interesting. They're working together, and because of Chloe's interaction, she was able to not suspend, what's the word I'm looking for? Just kind of preemptively try and get the drones out.
Yes.
And stop Margot from getting all 10 drones.
Right, and she does help a little bit. You know,
Yeah.
we recover 4 drones or ground them.
Yeah. And Kate pretty much is a hero. And
Yeah.
yet she comes back home. She goes back to CIA base where all of a sudden, miraculously, of course, we see this tape and we find out that they were able to find the IP address that shows an estate where Margot's supposed to be. And Steve Navarro says, "I'm taking point. Kate, you got to stay because the Marines filed a complaint against you," which I thought was a little funny. It was like poor Marines filing a complaint against
It went high up
Kate.
the chain.
It went high up the chain, but it was still a little funny.
I know that they couldn't send like a messenger to go check out the house, but is that proper protocol to send this massive team of like armed people just into the house without checking it?
I felt like since it was so easy and so quick, and everybody kept saying that I was like, guys, bells should be going off
Yeah.
in your head. How are you going to
Yeah.
send this many people in? Or some sort of video camera, something.
Well, you would think that proper protocol would be to assume, especially because even the technical guy, I can't remember his name right now, who Jordan, when he saw it, he said, either I'm really lucky or they're just,
I'm really good, is
Or
what
I'm
he
really
said.
good. But he was even doubting himself on how easy it was. And I would think like the bells would be ringing.
Yeah.
This might be a trap.
Why wouldn't he have done whatever it is that Chloe did, though? Just to double check.
'Cause
it
Chloe
seems like
is
it took her like
Chloe.
4 seconds.
I know.
Chloe, I mean, don't forget, Chloe's working in the WikiLeaks thing, so they
Yeah.
probably have super mega access
She
to all
says
sorts
we're
of stuff.
good, but we're not that good. She didn't have the access that she
To
needed.
get
She had
into
to have
us,
Kate.
yeah.
I'm just wondering where like the heat sensor is, where they look at it with the camera and they're like, there's not a single body in there.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's how we caught Osama.
That's true.
You know?
Actually, no, you're right. They didn't
I
have
saw
any.
Zero Dark 30.
They
It
didn't.
exists.
They didn't
I
have
saw it
any heat
too.
sensors. But the only thing I would say, and this would probably suspend my disbelief, is that they were in such a hurry to try and get this going as quickly as possible, that they cut corners and they they screwed up. Again, it was a CIA WTF.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell?
Yeah.
But the only way I would suspend disbelief is that everything in 24, as we said earlier, was so stressful and frenetic that they just rushed in and they didn't cross their I's and dot their T's.
All I can say is
or
that
vice versa.
CTU would never make this mistake.
Exactly. Put Audrey back in charge.
Please. Yeah, right. So anyway, so it ends up being a trap, and luckily Kate's working with Chloe, and Chloe finds out at the last second. Steve Navarro and Eric Ritter, who we didn't talk much about this episode, were both in the house, and they looks like perhaps they both escaped, but we don't know because they started to go back in right when the drones
Because one of the teams is still inside.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty clear that they survived.
Yeah, I think so too. Who isn't working with Chloe anymore is Cross.
Yes,
But
Adrian
we
Cross.
do hear Cross say, "I love you, Chloe,"
Yeah.
which brought their relationship to a whole level I did not realize they were at.
Yeah.
Was this, because I just have to throw it out there anytime somebody says I love you, was this just purely friendship based, or did we see something more going on here? We obviously know that she lost her husband, she lost her son. What kind of relationship does she have with Cross?
I don't know, but he's such a egotistical guy, and he doesn't seem to show much emotion at all, that it was really interesting to see him say, "I love you." And the way he just said it, he was like, "I love you, Chloe." And then he's walked out. So it's an interesting trait. It's an interesting
Is this like him
characteristic.
caring about his children, or I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't know if it was like platonic, but we sometimes like have sex because like we're lonely and like I'm impressed by your computer skills, or if like you said, father and daughter.
Turn me on.
Yeah,
Totally.
Oh, you have great code. I don't know. I wanted to believe it's platonic, but I just didn't know why that was there. If
Yeah.
it was a little bit more.
I agree. So I don't know. They very clearly put it in to make a point. I'm
Yeah.
not sure what that point is yet. That's not the last we see of him.
No, definitely not.
No, I don't think it's possible, but I think we might see some more of him a little bit later on. I just don't know how, because the only way he would come back, I think, if Chloe really presented a case for him to come back.
I think he finds some sort of information and he feels the need to go bring it to her.
That's possible. Actually, I could see that too.
And like doesn't want to get involved but has to get involved, something.
Or there's like the like Indian looking girl who's the hacker. I don't remember her name. She looks like something's like stirring in her mind.
Sabine.
Yes, something like
yeah.
that.
I mean, they showed a couple of close-ups of her, but I feel like she's just another character in the background for
really,
the most part.
She,
Yeah.
they've made a strong point, like a couple episodes, to be like, oh look, she
disagrees
following,
with, yeah.
Adrian Cross, but she definitely disagrees with it.
Yeah.
So I wonder
Well,
when is she breaking out.
She's only had, I think, like 2 lines. It's possible. I mean, it's more possible than the person you picked last week. That's for sure. I see her more likely to come back.
Hey, I made that prediction 2 weeks ago about her being a bigger part than we're aware. So, just
Well, that one made
why
more
don't you all
sense.
ride my coattails to the finish line?
Oh God. Okay, we're gonna ride your coattails to the finish line.
Riding dirty.
Okay.
Yeah. And speaking of coattails, we're pretty much, unless there's anything else that we forgot here, I think we've pretty much hit it all.
I think I said everything
Every
I wanted to say.
little minute
I got my polio
detail.
joke in.
You got your polio joke in there. Unless there's some other background actor that you want to bring up, spotlight today, Roxy.
It's not about the cast.
Well, now that you mentioned-
There was that fat guy that was kind of looking at Chloe at the very end when everyone else was walking out.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
not.
you got it.
It's not about the cast, but the show had been doing like pretty solid, like 8 million viewers. Last week was in the 5 million viewer range. So I'm curious. It's a fairly significant jump down.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been reading a lot of mixed reviews, which strikes me funny because I think this season has done such an amazing job.
Yeah.
What are you guys hearing?
Well, I mean, look, 24, this was meant to be Fox's version of event TV. This is what they're trying to do more and more, to make people watch live, to make things into a major event as opposed to a regular 22-episode season where people just tune in every single week. So based on week 2, and to be honest, I mean, it's Memorial Day today, so who knows what the ratings will look like today.
Yeah.
Ratings are usually soft on a holiday
Yeah,
like
of
today.
course.
So we're not going to necessarily expect bigger ratings. But I still feel that we got to give this a couple more weeks build up to really determine if it's a success or if it's just keep dropping.
You know who's getting great ratings though?
Who's going to
our after show, and that's because you guys are home. We have the most amazing fans. We love you guys. You're killing it.
Yeah,
all over.
you know, we should bring up that if you're listening to us on Monday on Memorial Day, you might not be able to tune into us on iTunes yet, at least for our most recent episode. We apologize for that. There's been some issues, technical issues that we are fully aware of. You should be checking us out either live streaming right now on AfterBuzzTV.com or YouTube, or hopefully we'll get this issue
yeah, the
resolved.
iTunes will be up and
very
running
soon.
very
This
soon.
week, it's fine.
But if you do, I noticed some people already rating us and saying, "Oh, what the hell's going on? You guys aren't inconsistent." But just letting you know it's a technical problem, and we promise to once we get it
We're gonna fix it.
resolved, we're going to
We're-
fix it, and it'll be consistent the rest of the year, the rest of the season,
The rest of the lifetime we have.
the rest of the
here.
lifetime. Okay, absolutely. So anyway, I think that pretty much brings us to predictions.
oh yeah.
And now,
Did you throw a wink after that?
TV.
Know what I will next week.
Thanks.
Roxy, you look like you're dying to say something, so let's just say it.
Oh God, I really didn't have much to say. Somebody else start with their predictions. You said something sexual about Jack and Kate. I don't know if we're gonna see that, but we're
No
definitely gonna see.
way.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna see that, but I think we're definitely gonna see some teamwork. I mean, it looks like she gets the living crap beat out of her next week.
yeah.
She is the next
Oh
Jack.
God, the drill! I forgot.
And I had to remind you. But I was a little confused. Maybe you guys could point this out better. We see her being tortured with the drill. He puts the needle in her neck to bring her undercover,
Yeah.
and then we see him standing in front of a gun. Was she behind him? Was he protecting her from being shot? Are they both undercover? Did he bring her to this person that knows Margot as like leverage,
Bait.
or to show that he's on their not on CIA's team? I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, it was pretty quick, the clip, so I'm not sure exactly what. But it does look like he's using Kate as a bargaining chip to get into this arm dealers. That's all I could tell right now.
Of course.
And perhaps, there's the initial, it's always the bad guy when Jack comes in and he's trying to be another pretend to be another bad guy. There's always that initial gun to Jack power and like, I don't know if I trust you yet. And then Jack's like, come on, it's me. It's me. I'm just some random bad guy.
One of
And
these
they put
times
a
he's
gun
gonna
down.
get shot. One of these times. I mean,
Well, we'll see. What do you think, Jeff?
I've honestly no thoughts concerning next week's episode. I have no idea what's gonna happen.
Okay.
Although I'm very excited to see Jack and Kate teaming up.
Yeah.
Jack and Kate plus Chloe and 8.
Plus Chloe, yeah. And
Hackers.
8. Nice.
I see what you did there.
I want to
you.
say that I did say that Jack was going to call Kate to be his partner last
You
week.
did.
I did say
duh,
that.
So did everybody. Whatever.
see, your
downplay
predictions
it.
might all come true, but mine that come true, nobody predicted.
Absolutely.
Can't wait to see. Well, your prediction on that Indian girl still hasn't come true yet. She's just 2 other close-ups. That's all we've seen so far.
I second that for my prediction.
Okay,
It's
well,
coming true.
fine. Team up against me. I don't care. We'll see what happens next week.
Oh my God, next
put a
week
bet
I'm
on
so
it.
excited.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
I
My
wonder if we have
prediction.
a time jump, because we haven't had one yet.
I don't think, according to IMDb, I don't think we have a time jump yet. My prediction, I don't have a prediction. Well, we'll just go on to next week. How about that? So,
Yeah.
so where can we find you, Roxy?
You can find me everywhere at Roxy Striar.
Ditto with Jeff Masters 1.
And you can find me on Twitter at Nandovel, Nandovel. You can find all of us also on other various AfterBuzz shows. Please tune in. We have like over 50 shows available on iTunes
Heck
and
yeah.
YouTube. And otherwise, you can catch us next week here Monday night at 10 p.m. Pacific for another episode of 24 Live Another Day. Thank you very much.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Bye.
See you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
Thank you for watching AfterBuzz TV on YouTube. For more of your favorite after shows and interviews, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion on the episode in the comment section below here. We'd love to see what you guys are buzzing about. Thanks again. Buzz you later.